watching ERi-TV English news broadcast, dear viewers. Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us, and do stay tuned as we bring you the latest updates from around the world and the country, live from our headquarters in Asmara. I'm Heaven Johans, your news anchor for this session. The following are the major headlines. President Isaias holds talks with African Continental Free Trade Area delegation. Rehabilitation of foster families and livestock. At least 62 dead after torrential rain floods in Spain's Valencia region. And heat-related deaths and diseases rising due to climate change. In our domestic news, President Isaias Afwerki received and held discussions with a delegation from the African Continental Free Trade Area led by Secretary General Mr. Wakeme Min at Adihalo earlier today. During the meeting, President Isaias emphasized the critical need for African countries to harness their natural resources and human capital and pursue extensive industrialization. He stressed that industrial growth, supported by well-developed infrastructure, is essential for enabling Africa to export processed goods rather than raw materials, thereby fostering a conducive environment for free trade across the continent. President Isaias also discussed the challenge African countries encounter when aiming to maintain independent policies while seeking financial support from international financial institutions. He underscored the importance of establishing coordinated and effective African financial institutions with new regulations and trade modalities. Such institutions, he noted, would empower African nations to achieve joint and synergistic growth through targeted projects that utilize specialized expertise and collaboration. Secretary General Mr. Wakeme Min outlined the main purpose of the delegation's visit, which was to consult with the Eritrean government on the current state and potential opportunities for industrialization in Africa, as well as on modalities for advancing free trade to drive and expedite collective progress. The Secretary General highlighted the urgency of taking decisive steps to initiate these efforts, noting that although Africa may not be fully prepared, early actions are crucial to advancing the process. The delegation also toured the irrigation farming project in Adihalo. The Ministry of Labour and Social Welfare branch in the Maimena subzone has provided livestock valued at 10,000 nakfa each to foster families of orphans and disabled citizens as part of an initiative to support and rehabilitate these families. Mr. Johannes Issa, head of the branch office, stated that the beneficiaries were selected by their respective area administrations, with support allocated based on their living conditions. He explained that the objective of these assistance is to empower beneficiaries to become self-sufficient and productive members of society. He also encouraged the families to work diligently to improve their livelihoods. The beneficiary families expressed their gratitude to the government and the public for the support they received. Additionally, an awareness-raising seminar focusing on the negative consequences of underage marriage and female genital mutilation was held for residents of the Maimena subzone. Pedagogy training was conducted on 15 and 26 October for newly assigned teachers in the Adghayh subzone, aimed at enhancing their teaching skills. A total of 47 teachers from 20 schools in the subzone participated in the program. Mr. Tasfon Mabratu, head of pedagogy at the subzone's education office, explained that the training aimed to improve the teaching-learning process and to help new teachers address potential challenges in their roles. Mr. Bayana Tasfai, head of the education office, urged the trainees to contribute to the development of disciplined and competent students. The trainees expressed their commitment to meeting these expectations and called for support from experienced teachers. We'll be back with the international news, dear viewers, after the short break. Welcome back. At least 62 people have died in flash floods that swept through Spain's eastern region of Valencia after torrential rain, the state government said in a statement on Wednesday. The statement further noted that some people remained isolated in inaccessible locations and reaching certain areas was absolutely impossible. Heavy storms on Tuesday triggered floods across parts of southern and eastern Spain. Footage shared on social media showed vehicles being swept away down streets by the mud-colored water. More than 1,000 soldiers from Spain's emergency response units were deployed to the affected areas, and the central government has set up a crisis committee to help coordinate rescue efforts. Emergency services in Valencia urged citizens to avoid any kind of road travel and to follow further updates from official sources. On our last news. Climate change is raising temperatures to dangerous levels, causing more deaths and the spread of infectious diseases, while worsening drought and food security, a new report from The Lancet has warned. In 2023, the hottest year on record, the average person experienced 50 more days of dangerous temperatures than they would without climate change. The report was released as heat waves, fires, hurricanes, droughts and floods have continued in full force this year, which is expected to surpass 2023 to become the hottest year on record. The report further stated that the elderly are the most susceptible, with the number of heat-related deaths in people over 65 last year reaching a level of 167% above the number of such deaths in the 1990s. Year on year, the deaths directly associated with climate change are increasing. However, heat is affecting not just the mortality rate, but also increasing the diseases and the pathologies associated with heat exposure. This wraps our news for this session. Dear viewers, now a quick recap of tonight's major headlines. President Isaias holds talks with African Continental Free Trade Area delegation. Rehabilitation of foster families and livestock. At least 62 dead after torrential rain floods in Spain's Valencia region. And heat-related deaths and diseases rising due to climate change. With this, we conclude our news for this session. Dear viewers, thank you for joining. It's a goodbye from us.